Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Jurassic World Evolution 1993 build. Look at this guy, actually coming up all nice and close to the fence. If only you had done that in the movie, buddy. Okay, I'm here now. Little jerk. Alright, where's the other guys? So welcome back to another episode of Jurassic World Evolution, the 1993 build, where I have not done much between the last episode and this episode. Not that there's been much more than like a 15-minute gap between when I just ended that video. But what I have done is that I've made a couple more Dilophosaurs because I actually am trying to like be true to lore and do a bunch of research here, and everything that I see indicates, like, I'm trying to make sure like we're accurate to population and a bunch of stuff. So everything that my research indicates that there was actually 5 Dilophosaurs in the park. Whether or not that's true, I have no idea. That's just what I found research-wise. I feel like if you look back at like Jurassic Park the game from 2011, I think it was, it looked like there was a lot more Dilophosaurs, but there may have only been 5. I don't know. So we now have 5 Dilophosaurs in this enclosure, just to hopefully make that a little bit more accurate. We've got a feeder for them, that kind of stuff. Triceratops, I think it was saying there was actually only 3 Triceratops. We actually have 4 here. I'm going to personally leave it because I feel like 4 is a better number than 3. Somehow that just doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, I guess we'll go with that. The next thing, moving on to our next build, is the metriacanthosaurus enclosure, which honestly doesn't need much. I mean, as you can see here, it's a very narrow enclosure. It's not got a lot going for it. I got a little puddle back over here for its water supply. Everything that I can see on the maps and stuff, it kind of makes it look like this is a really mountainous or a really hilly area. So I went ahead and kind of made this sort of like an embankment of an enclosure. Got little patches of dirt and sand just to shake things up. Got some coastal colored plant life in here, just some little things like that. And the next thing would be to give it a medium enclosure. Medium carnivore enclosure sign, whatever you want to say, like so. Give it just a nice little something that indicates, okay, there's going to be a medium carnivore on the left here, or in the way the vehicles are actually going on the right, but we're pretending they're going this way. Outside of that, I don't feel like I can do a lot to this enclosure. Like, it's actually like just kind of an enclosure. I don't know, like I can give it little bits and bobs and make it look like it's got a little bit more going for it, but that's really all there is. So, metriacanthosaurus enclosure, nailed it. I also went ahead and got the metriacanthosaurs made up, which I guess let's take a, well, I didn't quite mean to release, but here we go. I meant to take a look at their genome real quick just to show you guys what I did. So, what's going on here? Hello? What? Okay then. I hope you guys enjoyed that little sneak peek at some lag and some glitches going on. That I haven't seen that one before. Okay, so again, this enclosure, or this episode was meant to focus on like the metriacanthosaurus and then go over to the Tyrannosaurus Rex maybe and get its enclosure all made up, just sort of go in the order of things. I kind of feel bummed because I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on metriacanthosaurus, mainly because that's just it. Like, in the entire franchise, there really is very little information on the metriacanthosaurus. There's very little about what it originally looked like according to like the movie. It was never in the novel, and like even like going to Clayton Fioriti, I guess is how you pronounce his name, watching one of his videos like just a moment ago. I just kind of like quickly went over one of his videos that was actually on the metriacanthosaurus, and there really is like no information. There's not even really any indication of whether or not it was actually in the park. There was an enclosure built for it, but it wasn't actually, that we know of, like, was it even in the park? Did it have much of a population? Like, I don't really know. So what we're going with is what we do have, which is obviously the basic skin for metriacanthosaurus here. It's just kind of like this yellow and this blackish stripe with a little bit of green on the mouth. That's the way it looks according to Jurassic World. And I went ahead and gave it a brother, or sister I should say, which I think is the woodland. Which, yeah, just gives it kind of like some what is going on with the metriacanthosaurus? What is this? What? What the? Okay, sure. So I went ahead and also did the woodland here, which just gives it, you know, a little bit more color, a little bit more festivity to it. Just make things cool. So with that, what we can do is we can go ahead and shrink them.
Setting additional task.
And I will go ahead and get them transported into their new home right over here. And that's literally all I can do for them other than give them food, because there's not enough information for me to really, like, indicate anything about what they are, what they did, anything. This is them. Metriacanthosaurus. Nailed it. Right, so we're moving on. Now this is where I think most of our video is going to take place, because this is going to get complicated. Because, again, I want to make this whole scene for the T-Rex as accurate as possible. Which, I mean, isn't too hard. I guess. It's not really that hard. One thing I'm immediately going to point out is that in the movie, what we see is that the tour ride comes this direction, right? Like, it's going the opposite way of how I've got the vehicles going. But in the movie, you'll notice that when they come up to the Tyrannosaur enclosure, they actually come from this direction the way the vehicles are going now. Which doesn't make any sense, but that's how it looks. So, yeah, that's just how that looks. I don't know why that's the way that is, but there you go. The next thing is, obviously, as we see in the movie, which is very strange, is that when the vehicles come up to the enclosure, obviously, like, it's really flat. Well, it's actually very mountainous, but there's a flat spot there where the goat is, and the T-Rex crosses over into the enclosure all easy-like. But then at some point, it starts kicking around the vehicles, and then it kicks it over a cliff back into its enclosure. Doesn't really make any sense. Well, I started doing some research, and I actually have a few images pulled up online right now, and I'll probably download them and, like, show them to you guys right now. Is that there's a couple of, like, interesting ways that reflects that. Again, it doesn't make total sense, but it is at least indicating that the area that we were looking at actually had a really intense slope to it. It's like a really, really heavily sloped enclosure. So, like, you look into the enclosure, it's relatively flat there for a little bit. You've got the goat right there, but it's also like a really, there's like this hill, like this entire embankment that is slowly going down, sort of off screen a little bit from what we see in the movie, which is supposedly where that, like, I guess, like, the cliff is. It's really, really strange. Like, I'll have to, like, pull up a bunch of reference pictures to try to help this make sense, but what we do see is the goat. There's kind of a flat spot there, and the landscape right in there happens to be flat and sort of goes uphill, but if you look off to the left a little bit, there's also some area that's kind of sloping down into a cliff. It's really hard to explain. I don't even know why I'm trying to, and I was just looking inside of the Google, so it's not like I was really indicating anything here. Yeah, I don't know. All I can really do is, like, we can make this area relatively flat, which I think will start from about here. Let's see. Because I think this should come up just a little bit when it comes in. And then this is going to start getting nice and flat right through here. Nice and flat. And it's going to carry on through to about here, I feel like. Sure, let's do that. Give this all a nice little bit of a slope, which now there's vehicles coming, which means I can't. Great job. Back up here, this again will continue to be nice and flat. Right through here, I feel like. Just keep it nice and flat back through here so that it's actually got, like, a little spot here where the T-Rex and the goat and all that stuff would be. Looking nice and good. Now, the thing that I was trying to indicate is kind of like... God, let's clear out some of these trees. As really strange as it is, so, like, the vehicles actually are coming from this direction right here. There's kind of like a tunnel back over here that the vehicles come out of, even though that's not actually there. And pretty much actually kind of in this shape right here, there's a little bit of a flat spot right past the fence. I don't know if you guys, can you guys see my cursor with this video, with this recording software? I don't think you guys can, so I'll have to, like, grab something just to indicate. Right in here, is like the fence, things like that. Right over here is like the goat, where the goat should be. It's a relatively flat spot here, but as you guys already know, there's like this mountain range right beyond that. Like the entire Tyrannosaur enclosure is like this big hill all through here. What we notice is that sort of just like this little ridge right here, it kind of slopes down just past this and then all of a sudden drops off pretty much like this, which is where I guess the vehicle got like kind of kicked over and then fell down. The thing is though is that it didn't necessarily, again according to some other pictures I'm looking at, it didn't necessarily just fall down into the Tyrannosaur enclosure, it fell down into a different enclosure. There's like a fence coming across right here. How accurate that is, I don't really know. Especially since, if we look at the map, this enclosure here is supposed to be the Velociraptor enclosure. Was there anything ever actually in this enclosure? I don't know. They said they bred 9 raptors originally, and there was only 3 of them that they put into the raptor pen off over here. So I feel like there wouldn't have actually been anything in this enclosure. Whoops. Metriacanthosaurus, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddies. Come with me. Come. Come this way. This way, little one. Come on. Grab it. There it is. Okay. So now you guys can have your enclosure. So how accurate that is, I'm not really sure. I don't know. It kind of makes sense to me. Like, the fence slowly rounds right through here, right along the bend of where, again, you guys, I don't think can see my cursor. So the fence slowly rounds through here like it should. This is all just going to be a flat spot where the T-Rex presents itself and the goat is. All through here is pretty much just going to be a big mountain of an enclosure. And then back over here, it's just going to suddenly kind of drop off into a moat area. And it would make sense that this closure is pretty much just empty. Like, there's no raptors, there's no nothing like that. But the thing that sort of takes me back from there is, like, maybe if Dr. Grant and all of them had traveled through this enclosure, I don't know why they wouldn't have just made a straight shot and gone through here, because what I see on some of the map or references I have seems to show that they came up and they went off into, like, right here somewhere, and right in here is about where they saw the brachiosaurs, because this is Herbivore Paddock 1, I think, or Herbivore Pen 1 or something like that, which has the Gallimimus and all that stuff that they would have seen, that we would have actually seen in the movie. Like, this would have been that scene, but apparently in the same enclosure is where there would have been more parasaurs, and there also would have been brachiosaurs, which, again, is the big tree scene that we see in the movie, where they, like, the Triceratops, the brachiosaurus comes up and is eating from the tree, that kind of stuff. Really, 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 really strange. I guess it kind of makes sense. I don't know, so yeah, like the vehicle falls off here, they would have traveled through this enclosure, there weren't any more raptors, so it's not like they would have run into anything here. They would have come into this enclosure, which probably would have been a slightly larger enclosure than I have, which means we might be changing some stuff, because there would have also been brachiosaurus in this enclosure, and they would have run into them, like, somewhere right up here. And they pretty much would have just kept going, and somewhere along the way crossed over a fence like we see in the movie, like right here maybe. The whole, like, what is that scene called? Wired Heights, or whatever the whole scene is where they're trying to cross the perimeter fence, and of course the power is coming back on. So they probably would have like crossed it like right here and then finally made it to the visitor center. It's all very complicated, but we're gonna go with it. So anyway, enough rambling, let's start building. So first thing we know is, of course, there's a fence, so it's gonna come pretty much just straight out. I think there is a pretty good gap between the vehicles and the fence, so we're gonna leave the fence out quite a bit. Not like that. It's gonna very slightly, I'm using all the wrong buttons. It's gonna very slightly bend and follow along the path till about maybe there. Gonna keep going a little bit more till about there. Actually, you know what? Delete that a little bit, because this is where we could probably try to make things a bit more accurate here, because the bend goes on for a while, but what we see in the movie is like the fence kind of suddenly kind of stops like right here, and then just kind of makes a beeline this way. Kind of like this. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to make it kind of go off like this, and then what I'm actually going to do right here is I'm going to delete a little bit of the fencing here, as inaccurate as it might be here a little bit, and go ahead and make this shaped a little bit more so. Like that. How's that look? I don't feel like that takes away from the shape too much. So what that would be is like we can make this spot right here into kind of like the cliff, the drop off here, so that the vehicles get knocked down, and then there's like a moat down here, and this is actually the raptor enclosure. We just don't really know it from the movie. This is where the T-Rex and all that stuff's actually going down. So let's go ahead, let's clear out some trees here. Make sure we got plenty of seeds. Actually, it's not a very like heavily treed area, which is what's funny. So all that's going to come back over here. This is all going to be relatively flat and beautiful looking. I guess continue. Freaking vehicles, get out of here. Be gone with you. I don't like you. Go away. So we're going to continue the flatness back this way just a little bit more. Then the flatness is actually going to end right about here. Take us to like right here roughly. But then the thing is also that, again, this is an absolute like cliff. This is an absolute drop off right here. This is really going to be hard to achieve, but I think it's going to be something like this. It's just going to be a really sudden cliff like that. This needs to come up just enough so that we can have a nice little flat stretch here. That should be pretty good, right? Maybe a little bit more if I can get it. I don't think it'll let me. So just about like that. And then this whole area here is actually going to be like just a big slope coming down. That's what basically all of this is. It's just one big slope coming down into this like moat, this crevasse area right down here. Right down here. We can build a little bit of water and make it kind of look like that moat that we're talking about. It's so sad that this game won't really like give us cliffs to work with, but oh well. Like we can't like genuinely do cliffs or anything, but I'm just gonna make something that kind of looks like the moat that we see in the movie. I guess like that. Right in here there would also be like a lot of trees, because the whole point is that the vehicle got kicked over and it got stuck in some trees and stuff. Something like that. Maybe let's back it off just a little bit. I don't feel like it needs to be that close. Because something I'm going to do here is, in place of concrete, this is all going to be very, like, stony. This is the best I can do, guys. Yeah, okay. It's just, yeah. It's gonna drop off, and it's gonna go into some trees. And wrong button. It's gonna be like that, I guess. And there you go. There's like the moat scene, I guess. We can leave a little bit exposed here because it was like really, really, really muddy and kind of like grimy through here. Like all like post-rain stuff going on, like really grimy and horrible. Do something like that. Get a little bit of those guys out of the way. Give us a little bit more stone kind of sloping through here. If we could, I would actually like purposely park a Ford Explorer through here and crash it and make it look horrible, but that'd be pretty cool. And in terms of scenery, we could put this guy as sort of an indication of the big tree. That look decent. It causes my fence to buckle a little bit, but I don't think it's bad at all. I don't think it looks bad at all. Just give that a quick smoothing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually into that. And then over here, we can probably continue the stone a little bit just to make it look interesting. Otherwise, this entire area, more than anything, is just dirt. Which, I feel like this is the wrong shade of dirt. I could probably do better with sand. What do you guys think? Sand or dirt? Or could we, like, kind of mix it and make it look feasible? Because this whole area is actually very exposed. I'm trying to like be like really gentle with the brush and get the right effect going. I don't know, let's just go through and get a bunch of dirt. I have a little bit of grass here that I don't want. Destroy all of that. Tons more dirt. I don't want this to be stone, I want that to be dirt. Get rid of it. And do something like that. It's basically just like this big pit of dirt that looks horrible. But I think we can also, just for fun, throw in little hints of, maybe not quite like that, just a little hint of sand. That's actually not bad. A little hint of sand, kind of give it the right, you know, like texture for the area. Not too bad. And then if you could give me back some grass, I'll add some patches of some guaf. Make it look a little bit more, you know, amazing. Maybe some vibrant wouldn't look bad. Add some life back into here and make it look not quite as kept. That's pretty good. And then I think what we got is that the actual restrooms is kind of like, it's here, but it's really like off to the side a little bit. I think about like this. I don't remember, but I feel like there was lights in front of it. Was there not lights in front of the... We might just add it anyway, just so that we have some aesthetic going on. Some aesthetic. About like that. Sure. And bring in the forest nice and close and evil. What do you guys think? Is that pretty good? Could maybe even like bring the jungle in a little bit closer and more ominous with that. Throw in a palm tree right here because I think there was one. And of course the Tyrannosaurus Rex sign, which, ooh, I should probably look that up real quick. So yeah, it's showing the vehicles coming from the Triceratops paddock. Obviously is like slowly coming across by the fence. The goat feeding spot is like almost completely in the corner, which is really strange. But I don't feel like that's actually accurate. Yeah, the restroom's kind of off to the corner. Doesn't really show where the sign is supposed to be though, which is annoying. Aha! Okay, I got kind of a GIF or a GIF or whatever you want to call it, completely random, but actually it does show that the Tyrannosaurus Rex sign, and it's kind of like right in front of the restroom. It's like right in front of it. So, ooh, actually, wait a minute. Take a look at that picture again. Was there any lights there? I don't think there was any lights there. Yeah, I don't think there was any lights or anything in the area. I might keep that one to the right, just so we have something, but on the other side here, the sign was like right in front of it and slightly tilted, slightly angled, about like that. Which now that I look at it, the sign's actually really big compared to the restrooms, but hey, that's how it goes. So, how do we feel here? I feel like this one tree is a little bit too close. So if I can just slightly delete it, that'd be great. There we go. Okay. So, can I... Capture mode, maybe? Hide the HUD. So if I'm like a tourist, I'm coming in, I'm in the vehicle, I'm coming through. This is the whole enclosure. Yeah. Yeah, I could see this. Just the big fence, all that kind of stuff. Right off to the left here is where Gennaro would have run off and went inside. You can see the sign kind of off over there. The T-Rex would probably have like broken out like right here, would have started fooling around with the vehicles. Somehow, I guess, kicked it off like over here. Does not make any sense. And it would have fallen off here. So, you know what? I could change it up a little bit more. Again, we could sharpen the angle of this and bring it again, you guys can't see my cursor doing it. I really don't think you guys can. I could sharpen the angle from this and pretty much bring it like right into the middle of all of this. So you know what? We might just do that because then the drop-off point would be like right here, and that would make so much more sense. Let's do that. Let's do that real quick. Continue the slight slantedness of this, I suppose. And then kind of just wrap it around. You know what? Actually, let's just like very slightly tilt it off this way. And then just cut right into it. About like that. That's pretty good. And with that, I gotta change this up again just a little bit. Again, it's a big sloping hill going about like that. Something like that. Kind of goes through and makes a little something like that. Again, we were doing this. This now comes up to right in there. Come on. Flatten it. There we go. And get it as close as possible. Yep, that's as close as you're gonna get. And make that nice and flat and smooth and beautiful. Maybe bring it out just a little bit more, if we can. About like that, and smooth it. Right, how horrible is that? Oh my god. The vehicles are going up at such a stupidly huge angle. Alright, well, let's smooth all of that out just a little bit. About like that. Make it nice and... freaking vehicles, don't do this to me. Well, if the vehicles could get gone, I could make this look better. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. Vehicles kind of come through here. It's relatively flat right through here. It's slightly sloped, but I guess that's fine. And then, as we already were testing right through here, this is all a really sharp cliff. Go ahead and make this all rocky and horrible looking. We can keep some of those bushes for like a vine appearance maybe. This all looks really horrible and evil. Let's go ahead and delete the tree, because I can put that back like slightly off to the side here a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't screw with anything. Okay, that's good. And let's delete a few trees. Make this just a little bit more open so we can see what's going on. Give me a few trees back over. You literally just went back in the same spot. Get out of here. Get out of here. There we go. And give me back some water. Something about like that, maybe? Just like a really thin brook through here or something, like a little weedy brook. Another thing is that this looks like absolute garbage right here, so smooth that out just a little bit, please. Smooth that out a little bit, smooth that out a little bit. It's a really gradual slope. It's nothing drastic like this. Okay. Excuse me, I just burped a little bit. I hope you don't mind me burping a little bit. I think the next thing is that this entire area back over here, again, was, like, really dirty looking. There's a lot of, like, really dirty, grimy appearances in Jurassic Park. Why is the park so dirty? Spared no expense. Alright, delete all of that so I can see what's going on. Delete it all. Give me dirt. I want dirt. This is Jurassic Park. You think we keep things clean? No. Dirt. So it's just a little patch like that. We have, let's get the goat feeder. Live bait feeder. So what I'm saying in the map is that it makes it kind of look like the goat feeder's like right on the corner. Does not make any sense to me that it would be like that. I feel like it would at least be like off over here slightly. So that's what we're gonna do. And it's not far in whatsoever. It's like here. About like that. And again, the entire area looks really weedy and kind of, you know what? Grassland might do the trick. Just a little bit of, some patches of grass kind of surrounding it, making it look a little bit more live. There's a lot of, like, bushes, too, if I can get the frickin' game to give me some bushes. Weeds off like that way, about that way. Some more bushes in the back there, some more bushes there. Nice and patchy and heavenly. Something about like that. Maybe add some crag just to bring in a little bit more discolored, ugly plants like the West Indian lilac. Maybe a little bit more right in here if I can get it. Okay. I need it back in there. And then the trees. There's so many trees. Make it all nice and thick and dense right in here, I feel like. But then back it up just a little bit right over here. Keep the wall of trees back a little bit. Hello, metriacanthosaurus. This was all actually surprisingly open right through here, though. Not accidentally deleting what I just did. No. Alright, back up the trees just a little bit, please. Can we get rid of that one tree, please? Back it up. Back it up. There we go. Well, maybe not that far, but... you know what? We'll live with it. So that tree, there we go. Just a little... Okay, that looks better, actually. Give me a little bit more patches like that, yeah. Oh, patches of some crag. Some crag. Some crag. And I feel like we need to add a couple of trees a little bit. Like, again, I feel like the jungle reached out just a little bit further. So we can add that guy just to accomplish that. And I feel like we could probably add, like, you know, a palm there. Palm here. Palm here. Just make it look like it's got a little bit more going for it. And we're back. Okay, again, stupid recording software. The game started lagging a little bit, and I think the recording software got kicked off. I have the worst luck with recording software. You know how it is. I would hope, at least. Alright, so anyway, we're back over here. I finished up the enclosure back over there. I didn't do much more past what I think you guys just saw there. Like, I placed the, I think, what'd you guys see? I placed the feeder, and I started adding a few trees and stuff. Right after that, the video started lagging a little bit, and I think it cut off, and I just didn't see it. Or I didn't see the indication that it did. But I pretty much just like made the big mountain area right behind it, which I'll show you guys in a second. But what I am going to do is, I guess I will go ahead and end off the video, but with the assurance that I'm about to make the T-Rex. Which, let's go ahead and show you guys the stats here real quick. We're going to keep just regular 1993 pattern, because we want it to be accurate. I am leaving one slot under null as a frog DNA for a nice little reference to the movie there. Skin toughness, tooth hardness, making it a huge lover of forest because its enclosure is very heavily forested, and I want it to hopefully be able to live that way. Increased bone density, strong muscle fibers, that one's perfectly normal. Cardio strength, so it lives a long time. It's not really going to get any social, so I'm going to leave it like that. And some aggressive instincts. So, just a few little things to make it sound a little bit more legit. And also try to be accurate to the movie and like, okay, it's got frog DNA and it's the same skin and that kind of stuff. So here's our Rexy on her way. Now, you guys might want to leave in the comments below, should I call her Rexy or Roberta, or however it's pronounced. Because I think in the original storyboards they called the T-Rex Roberta for some reason, or Roberta, however, Roberta. I don't know how you pronounce Roberta or Roberta. I suppose is how you pronounce it. So yeah, leave that comment in the below. Should we call her Rexy or Roberta? So she's on her way. We'll have her here momentarily. I'll go ahead and show you guys real quick what I finished off with. Let's maybe go into capture mode for this. Turn all that off. That kind of. Oh my god, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, that should be okay. So you come down through here, over the fence, through the fence. Apparently not through the fence. Okay, over the fence. Okay, wrong. Down. Here we go. So you're coming through. You're in the vehicles. You technically be coming from that way, but in this case, we're just gonna pretend to come in this way. And this is how the enclosure looks. It's nice and heavily forested. We've got like some grass and things like that. There's the goat feeder right there, which I could probably go ahead and force it to release a goat real quick, just so we can get the aesthetic going. Oh, and the vehicles are coming too. Nice. All right, hold, and any second. Goat's about to release. Vehicles don't go any further. And go. Capture mode. Hide that. Here we go. Alright, where's the, how do I raise? Here we go. Perfect. Exactly as it should be. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. So the vehicles are coming through here, going the direction that I think actually, like, when the vehicles were on their way back to the visitor center in the movie, they were facing the other direction. But in the movie, what we saw of them coming past the Tyrannosaur enclosure for the first time with the goat and things like that, they were going the direction that they're facing now, which is, again, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's just how the movie's laid out. I don't know. So yeah, this looks pretty good. We got the fence. The trees don't come too close, but they definitely give the sense of presence and ominous. It's a little bit dirty and patchy, and we've got some like bushes and stuff through there. There's the goat, and just over here is our Tyrannosaurus Rex and all that goodness. Ooh, that's probably the thumbnail right there. Oh god, that looks great. Tyrannosaurus Rex sign and the restroom that Gennaro went into. And then just over here is where the fence apparently kind of like comes across. And this right here is where the vehicle would get kicked over the fence, fall down a cliff, or in this case, a really, really not so amazing slope, somehow get stuck into this tree. And then this is supposed to indicate like the moat and stuff. And this is actually the raptor enclosure, but it's just gonna have to do for now. There's not gonna actually be raptors or anything in here because there never was in the movie. Oh, and yeah, if we back up, yeah, this entire area is now very, very mountainous, very gorgeous. And if I can go up, you can see like it spans over, and it's like it's partially forested, partially open, that kind of stuff, just giving it the all of the necessities for the T-Rex itself. Alright, I guess that'll do it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, do all that kind of amazingness, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video of the 1993 build, where I guess the next thing is like, obviously we'll be releasing Roberta, or Rexy, whatever she's called, and we'll probably take a minute and just continue this scene, perhaps, because I know the moat is supposed to continue on for a little bit. We could obviously force this up a little bit more, make it look more like an enclosure that would actually have raptors. And I guess from the movie, what it would be is that Dr. Grant and Lexi and all of them went down the enclosure this way, and then at some point crossed over the fence, like right here or something. And in this enclosure, we might modify its shape just a little bit, because in this enclosure is supposed to be like the whole Gallimimus thing, which is why I kind of continued the hill right here down this way, because we have to make this area like really hilly and kind of crazy looking, because it's meant to be where the Gallimimus stampede was. And also somewhere in here is where they saw the brachiosaurs, like from the treetops and stuff. So we got to fit all of that into here somehow to make this a bit more accurate. So that'll probably be the priority for the next episode. It's just continuing like what we actually see in the movie storyline wise, is like where they go, the stampede, the brachiosaurs, up to about here. Maybe we'll even go ahead and get the Gallimimus going. After that, we got a bunch more enclosures to work on. Mostly, right down here is the Parasaur, is the Welcome to Jurassic Park scene, the Parasaurs, the Brachys, all that stuff. Somewhere right in here is the Proceratosaurus enclosure for some reason. Down this way, there's, like right in here, there's two enclosures for the Hararosaurus and the Segisaurus. We don't actually have the Segisaurus in the game, so I'll have to find a close substitute. I don't know what a Segisaurus really looks like, so we'll find out. Right in here is also an area called like Stegosaurus Valley, I think, so I guess we'll be fitting in Stegosaurus somewhere in here. And then this whole big enclosure is dedicated, for some reason, to Baryonyx, which we will also be getting. And then, I mean, there's a ton more stuff that we can work on. Like, somewhere back over here is where the East Dock is supposed to be. We could try to make the scene where Nedry gets killed. Uh, what's supposed to be, like, in the smack dab middle of all this, which I don't know how, and there's no way we could anyway, it's supposed to be the aviary, and I have every intentions of building the aviary. Something tells me it's going right here, like, at the most southern tip of the map. And once we're done with all that stuff, I think we'll pretty much be done. But, I mean, I'm talking like another 3 or 4 episodes worth of content, if I keep it at like the 30 minutes and stuff. And of course, we'll go through and we'll do like a full tour, probably through capture mode to make it look like we're on foot, and by vehicle, so that we can actually like drive around and just see how stuff looks. See if there's anything I'm missing in terms of detail, and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, leave your comments below, go to the Discord and leave any other information that you would like to, or maybe even just make fun of me, something like that. It's all open to whatever you want to do. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!